Hey guys, let's get more news about Miami Heat, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Irie celebrates 18 years of giving back with his star-studded event. DJ Irie might be best known as the former DJ for the Miami Heat, but to those who know him, he's more than a turntable wizard. Recently named one of the top 100 influential people in Miami Hot living, Irie's a community champion who has dedicated nearly 2 decades to hosting Irie Weekend, an annual event that merges star-studded parties with deep-rooted philanthropy. As Irie gears up for his 18th annual Irie Weekend, it's more than just another year of fun. It's a milestone of determination, community, and, most importantly, support for at-risk youth through the Irie Foundation. The first part of it is perseverance, because it's not easy. But just because we've done it a long time does not mean it's gotten easier and easier. Maybe it's gotten harder, but just to be here and have a front-row seat to this journey, Irie tells New Times, gratitude seeping into every word. This year's Irie Weekend, taking place October 9th to 12th, promises to be the biggest yet, including a gala featuring a performance by the Chainsmokers on Thursday, October 10th, making history aboard the Sun Princess cruise ship while docked at Port Everglades. "We are taking over a cruise ship," says Irie, vocalizing his excitement. Sun Princess is making its North American debut for one night only because it's going into service on the 11th. When it goes into service, the only time it will port is for embarkation or disembarkation. It's never going to stay in port overnight, ever. They're like, "We want to make it available to a partner organization to host a big event, and we're choosing you." Irie Weekend began with nothing but a vision and a deep desire to give back. Around 2005, Irie was working a lot of charity events with celebrity athletes like Alonzo Mourning, Shaquille O'Neal, and Jason Taylor. While being the go-to guy helping everybody else and seeing what's going on in the community, Irie saw areas needing improvement where he could lend his support. Helping all these guys and seeing what's going on in the community, I see a void that I can help out, that I can raise some awareness. And I wonder what would it be like if I start calling the same guys that call me, Irie recounts. Would they be there for me? As Irie made those calls, he was met with enthusiastic responses of course, and "I got you." That was really overwhelming because it really showed that they didn't take it for granted, my support for them, he says. Irie credits key artists like Fat Joe, Jamie Foxx, and Wyclef Jean for their support and involvement from the beginning. Fat Joe, in particular, played a pivotal role in getting the event off the ground. In 2005, fresh off his hit single Lean Back, the rapper performed at Irie Weekend's inaugural event at Mansion nightclub free of charge. "That was huge for us," said Irie, harking back on an amazing night. "Just came in and did it for me, And what was cool about that was it gave us so much legitimacy right there from the top weekend." Over the years, high-profile celebrities like actor Jamie Foxx and musician Wyclef Jean became regulars at Irie Weekend. Irie calls Foxx the Irie Weekend GOAT for his support of the event. Not only out of the love of their heart but believing in the work that we do and understanding that them being a part of it will add value for us to be equipped to the work we're doing, Irie explains. In that spirit, we always kind of maintained adding the star power to the event year after year. If I go back and look at the long list of artists that have been a part of this thing, man, this is probably one of the greatest festival lineups of all time. Heat news: Miami adds former first-round pick to G League, Spoelstra talks offense. After day 2 of training camp in the Bahamas, Erik Spoelstra acknowledged that the Miami Heat need to do a better job of increasing their three-point volume, but he didn't stop there. "That's a part of it," Spoelstra said, of increasing the team's three-point rate. "And also not doing enough to make it hard to guard. But we'll be intentional there." Efficiency, being hard to guard, those are two things we're talking about. Generating more uncontested open shots is very important, Spoelstra continued. And knowing how we can do that within what we do. That'll be something that we've been working on. The Heat ranked at the top of the league in mid-range shooting frequency while ranking 18th in three-point attempts per game. Spoelstra has routinely mentioned that the Heat aim to take closer to 40 threes per game, but averaged 33.7 last season. But simply taking threes isn't enough. As Spoelstra said, the Heat need to work on generating open looks. According to NBA tracking data, Miami ranked 15th in open three-point attempts, when the closest defender is 4 to 6 feet away, and 28th in wide-open attempts, when the closest defender is more than 6 feet away. We explored more of the Heat's shot quality issues and what Jimmy Butler had to say about them in yesterday's post. The Heat have added Tony Snell to the Sioux Falls Skyforce, their G League affiliate in South Dakota. Snell, who last played for the New Orleans Pelicans in 2022, was the 20th pick in the 2013 draft. His career took him to Chicago, Milwaukee, Detroit, Atlanta, Portland, and New Orleans. Now 32, Snell won't be with the NBA club for training camp and is expected to be a veteran presence on Miami's G League affiliate. The news was first reported by Hoops Hype's Michael Scotto. It's official. The Heat have promoted Chris Quinn from assistant coach to associate head coach. It was really a formality, Coach Erik Spoelstra said about Quinn's role this week. He's been the associate head coach now for 3 or 4 years. So it's just a formality of giving him the official title. Quinn, a former Heat point guard, is going into his 11th season on the Heat staff and has long been Spoelstra's right-hand man. Ish Smith's reign of terror over the Heat is over. According to The Athletic's Josh Robbins, the Washington Wizards have hired Smith as a pro scout. Over his 14-year career, Smith earned a reputation as a Heat killer. 4 of his 20 highest-scoring games came against Miami between 2016 and 2019. Miami Heat land Julius Randle in blockbuster proposed trade. The New York Knicks and Minnesota Timberwolves injected some life into what had been a boring September when news emerged that the two had agreed on a trade that would see Karl-Anthony Towns move to the Big Apple for Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo, and a first-round pick. It is worth pointing out that the trade is not official yet. But it should be at some point in the near future. One has to wonder though whether Randle's long-term future lies in Minnesota or if the Timberwolves would be open to trading him once again soon. There are some question marks over his fit on that roster. In an article on Bleacher Report, Andy Bailey suggested a trade that would see Randle move to the Miami Heat for Nikola Jovic, Terry Rozier, and Thomas Bryant. Of course, it feels like Randle would bring the same potential roster fit issues to the Heat that he would for the Timberwolves. But Bailey writes, for the Miami Heat, this creates some of the same concerns Randle does for the Wolves. Lineups with Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, and Randle could be spacing nightmares. But as a pure talent play, this is an obvious upgrade. And if there's a coach who can figure out how to overcome that lack of shooting with the passing ability of each of the above, it's Erik Spoelstra. Now, that is a take most Heat fans would agree with. If there is one coach in the NBA who could figure out that puzzle, it would be Spoelstra. It has been quite clear for a while that the Heat need another player capable of producing consistently going forward. Randle could be the one to fit that role. Last season, he averaged 24.0 points, 9.2 rebounds, and 5.0 assists while shooting 47.2% from the field and 31.1% from three-point range. If it works, a trade like this could transform the Heat back into title contenders. If it does not, they'd look a bit silly for even going down this route despite knowing the limitations of Randle's game. And you fan? What do you think of the situation of Julius Randle? Leave your opinion in the comments.